this warm up and then the lesson
Right.
there, and page 266, and we'll read this and that, and then day 2 we'll go to.
Hey, Miss Hollingsworth. Hey, Mr. Johnson.
Hey, Miss
Hey,
April.
how
Hey,
are
I
you?
wanted you to know these are your new literature books for our new curriculum.
Oh,
Right.
They're new and beautiful and shiny, but unfortunately, we only have enough for each of you to have a class set. So every kid won't be able to take one home.
Okay.
And we weren't able to purchase the new Writer's Choice to go with it. So this is your class set, and they'll have to
Okay.
last you for 5 years. And unfortunately, that Writer's Choice is going to have to make it another 5. So.
Well,
So,
wow.
just
Yes.
so you know.
Thank you for
yeah,
letting us know.
and take good care of them.
and thank you
Okay.
Take
for
good
bringing
care of
them in.
those. We
Yes.
don't want the book police to come out and get ya.
Right.
Okay.
True.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Miss
Miss
April.
April.
Bye.
Wow.
Wow, these are great.
Oh, they are so good too. Those are good books, and
But
I think that
5?
we're going to really enjoy those.
I think so too.
But 5 years,
That's a
with the
long
Writer's
time.
Choice, I don't know.
Right, these are already 5 years old.
I know it. They're 5 years old.
They're already starting to,
Fray a little bit.
yes,
We're going to have to think of some way to preserve those books. and carry
definitely,
that.
definitely.
Oh, I know. You know what?
Yeah.
When I was in high school, we used to make book covers out of grocery bags.
Really?
Grocery bags.
Wow.
We sure did. Did y'all not do that?
No, that's a great idea.
Well, would you like me to show you how to do that?
I would love that.
Because it really protects them.
Okay.
And the neat thing about it is that kids can write on it, and they can put
Yeah.
the title of their book on it, and put their name and their, whatever they want to put on
Right.
it, as long as they just use regular ink and not something that's going to fade through.
Right.
But let me show you. Do you have some bags?
You know what? I actually do have some paper bags.
I thought you might.
They are right over
Are they
there.
over here? Okay.
Yes, and
Here they
I'll
are.
move this out of our
Okay.
way.
Well, all we need is a paper bag
Okay.
and some scissors.
Okay.
We don't need tape or glue or anything.
Wow.
Okay.
Nice.
Let me show you. First of all,
Okay.
there's a seam in the grocery bag, and what I do is just open it up full. Now, sometimes a grocery bag will have advertising on the outside.
Okay.
So that can do 2 ways. If the students want to leave it exposed, kind of a fun thing,
Okay.
or they can turn it over and put the book on it to hide that advertising.
Okay.
Now, this bag that we have today is just a plain brown bag, but that can be kind of tricky, so we want to make sure that the students are aware of that if you decide to use this in your class.
Okay.
But there's a seam where the bag is glued together, right here on this side. You see that?
Yes.
Well, what I normally do is I just cut down this seam with a pair of scissors.
Okay.
We just cut right along that seam, okay? And then we get down to the bottom, we can't go any further.
Right.
And then that provides us though with a nice edge, and we just cut the bottom right out of the bag.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to really be all that straight. You don't have to measure it with a ruler or anything like that. You can just kind of rough it up. You want to make sure it's fairly smooth and not have a lot of jagged edges, but it really doesn't have to be, so very exact.
Okay.
And let's see, I'll get it here through on that. Cut it open. And one more half page here. Okay, now that's
Okay.
waste, so we need to put that away for trash.
Okay.
And then we have a nice big sheet of paper.
All right.
Okay, now there's one thing, Ms. Hollingsworth, that we need to look at because we didn't cut the lap off, and that can get in the way.
Okay.
So we need to take our scissors one more time, and we need to take and just cut that seam out where it's lapped over. So we have a nice flat piece of paper.
All right. Trim the fat.
We gotta trim the fat, that's right.
Right.
And that's waste, and that can go into the trash again too.
All righty.
And now we've got a nice flat piece of paper. So we spread it out and rub over it. And then we put our book in the middle. You have a book, okay, this
Yeah.
is a Writer's Choice. And then we put it right about in the center of the book.
Okay.
Now, Here's a trick that I'll show you that you can tell the center. If you fold the bag over and sort of match up the seams on this end, you can pretty much be sure that it's in the middle.
Okay.
But there is a difference here, so we'll have to do that. But we'll remeasure a little bit later.
Okay.
Now, the rest of the procedure is simply folding.
All right.
Okay? So, we just need to crease the book here on this side,
Okay.
and then we crease the book here, and we do the top and bottom first. Okay?
Okay, crease the top and bottom.
Crease the top and bottom, and then we remove the book, and we fold over where our crease was. There. And again, if it's not perfectly straight, it's okay, but make sure that the edges come reasonably
Right.
good, and then
Okay.
do your crease again at the top, and fold it down. Okay?
Okay.
And again, if it comes out just a little bit crooked, it's not going to matter too much, but you need to make sure that it's fairly straight and fairly the same width at both ends. And of course, that's an easy thing to do, is just simply to measure to see how it works at both ends with the book,
Okay.
to make sure. Okay, now we need to put and find our center again, because I think we're going to be too long here.
Oh, looks like.
Okay, so here's our book, and we've got all this paper. So we need to come here, and about this fold right here that's on this paper, I don't know if you can see
I
that,
can.
we're going to just come up here with our scissors again, and we're going to cut that off.
Okay.
We're going to just cut it straight through, and get both pieces there, and cut that all the way through.
All right.
All right, and then we have to do this the same way on the bottom.
Okay.
And it can be just approximately, now that should be about 3 inches there or so, depending on the size of the book.
Okay.
But this is a pretty good sized book, so we want to make sure that that laps over really nice.
Definitely.
And then
5
we'll-
years worth.
Right, and then we'll cut that loose, okay? And then all we have to do then is to open up our book and put the cover right in that little pocket that we've created by our fold,
I see.
okay? And then fold it back over, and that's half of it. Now, to make sure it's real tight, we pick the book up like this, and we mark it. Now, we need to mark it when it's closed, because the distance from here around is actually longer when the book is closed than it is when it's open.
Okay.
So if you fit it on there when the book is open, it'll be too short and be too tight.
I see.
So we have to fold it when it's open,
Okay.
and then just make a crease like so, like that, and fold that like that. And if it wrinkles a little bit, it's okay.
Okay.
And then we put that cover on there just like that, and there we have a nice book cover.
Wow.
Yeah. Now
That's
this
awesome.
came out like
Look
that.
at that.
Isn't that nice?
And they
you can
get
write on it.
decorate?
Mhm.
Oh, they'll love
They can
that.
Put their book on it, or, mark it any way they like, and there's
Right.
absolutely no damage to the book.
Imagine encouraging them to write on their book.
Yeah, imagine that. Imagine that
This
we're
is
encouraging them to
wonderful.
write
I
on the
love
book.
it.
Yeah.
Do you
Okay.
think I could do one?
Well, I bet you could. Here's another bag. Why don't you try?
Let's try.
Okay.
All right.
Now, here's your scissors.
Okay.
All right.
See how much I remember. We open the bag,
The
right?
bag first, right?
Okay. Oop. And I'm looking for the seam.
The seam
Which
on the
is
back
right
side,
here.
right. And it's pretty
Okay.
visible. You can see it
It
readily.
is, and I'm just gonna cut right down that seam.
Right.
And then I cut around the bottom of the bag?
You have to cut the bottom out of the bag so that it just comes out
Do that.
like a square, and we throw that away.
Excellent. Ah.
And while what we're doing here is instructions on how to make this book jacket. And you know what? This can also be an example of expository writing.
Wow,
And they're
you know
right.
what? That's a good idea.
That's right. We can can have our students make these, and then wouldn't it be nice if they could write instructions on how to
Yes.
make this bag?
Yes, what
And
a
then-
great authentic learning experience.
Okay, that might be fun.
Trim the fat,
Right, gotta
All
trim the
right.
fat.
get this big old seam out of the way.
Good, excellent.
Adios.
All right.
Okay.
Put that over here.
I don't think I need these anymore, do I?
No.
Well,
I
not
believe-
yet.
Not for a while.
Okay. So I'm gonna open this up
Right.
and center,
Press it down good.
this is Troy's little, oops, that
Mhm.
one. I hope that doesn't give me any trouble. We'll see if it does.
Mm-hmm.
Fold over,
Right, measure it, so it's approximately in the middle.
approximately in the
And if
middle.
it's off a little bit, it doesn't matter that much.
Fold and,
Mhm.
okay,
Mark your folds by just creasing along the edge of the book.
do that.
Right. Yeah. They're tight, okay? Good.
Move the book aside and
Okay.
fold them up.
Right, and just fold along the crease that you made, that's the edge of the book.
It's gonna help us make our little end pockets.
That's right.
Okay.
That's exactly right. Okay. And we have to make sure that that one, good.
This reminds me of wrapping a present, Mr. Johnson.
It's Christmas time almost, isn't it?
All right. People are getting textbooks for Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've done that and look back on.
We need to measure again.
Okay. Looks
See
like
how
it'll.
we're- Make sure the book will fit, okay?
And then do I do this again?
Mm-hmm, just make sure it's in the middle,
Okay.
right?
So I need to cut some more
You're
down.
gonna need your scissors again.
It's a little, about that much.
About 3 inches, yeah, or about the width of your hand, minimum.
So that,
Mhm,
okay, yep.
mhm.
I'll cut right along the seam if you think that's a good
I
idea.
think that's a good idea. And you're doing something that's great. You're cutting both sides at one time, and that is an excellent thing to do because then they'll both be even.
Cool.
That's great. I hadn't thought about that.
All right.
Okay,
Okay, so,
just open your book, right?
do that.
Mhm. Do your fold.
Hold it. And put this in.
Right. Good,
Okay,
okay.
and then
Right.
fold it.
Close it up, right, because it's longer, the distance is longer with a closed book than an open book.
Pull it nice and tight.
Pull it tight, right. That's the
And
key, is to make sure it's really good and tight.
Crease.
Mhm. And the good thing is that, you know, if you think that's a little long on this side, you can always just trim it off.
Always trim a little more. What do you
But
think, should
the
I?
more you can put on there, the better it will be.
Okay, we'll try.
Okay,
Tuck that in there, those little folds.
right.
Get on in here.
Good.
And let's see. Oh, how's it gonna look?
Oh, super, super. And you know, it may pucker there a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just, you fixed it already by just pushing it back down in there
Sort
and
of.
making it straight.
Okay,
And you know, there's no tape or no glue that's required.
right, this
And
is
it just
great.
really will last, because that craft paper these bags are made out of is really tough.
Okay. Well, Mr. Johnson, this is an excellent idea. I think we should definitely do this in class.
Okay.
Have the students do it, and like you
Well, that's a good
said,
idea.
write an expository essay on it.
Mhm. And then that
Yeah.
way they can have the experience of doing it
Mm-hmm,
from an explanation,
right?
which is expository type of
Mhm.
writing. And
Very
then they
good.
can sit down and write up their own instructions on how to make a paper bag so that they
Yes.
can remember how to do it.
Excellent.
Well, great.
Well,
You know, it's
thank you.
almost time for class to start, so we
It
better get
is.
going.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Mr.
All right.
Johnson.
Bye-bye.
Bye.